Okay, well, I bet y'all heard that a couple weeks ago we had a ladies' retreat, right? Your mom was there.
My mom was there.
Your mom was there. I think all of y'all's moms was there. And we had a great time. And even though we were at the beach, and y'all weren't, sorry, we talked about trees a lot, believe it or not. In particular, oak trees. And talking about oak trees, and then that led to talking about acorns, and then that led me to thinking about you guys. I don't know why, but it led me to thinking about y'all, and thinking about a book that I read recently by Max Lucado called The Oak Inside the Acorn. Has anybody ever heard it? Read it? No? It's a fabulous book. You should get it and read it, and y'all should get it and read it because it is a great book. I'm going to give you a little synopsis on what the book is about. It's about a little acorn that's still attached to his mama's tree, and he knows he's got to fall sometime, and he's afraid. And Mama says, it'll be okay, just let go. And he's like, no, I'm afraid. What will happen? And she goes, it's okay. He says, well, what will I do when I get down there? And she says, just be the tree that God made you to be. So he goes, oh, okay. And he falls down. Well, wouldn't you know it, he bounced in the back of a truck. Acorns can't grow in trucks. Well, he bounces along, and then in a little bit, there was, in the next month, yeah, tree in my truck, exactly. But the farmer that owned the truck swept the little acorn out of the back of the truck, and he kind of bounced on the ground, and he looked around, and he's like, well, what now? And there were some trees nearby, and he says, what do I do? And they said, just relax, just burrow down in the dirt and take a little nap. It's going to be okay. So he burrows down in the dirt, and he takes a long nap. And the next thing you know, he wakes up, and he can see. He can see everything because he's taller than he was. He's a tree, exactly. And he talks to the other trees that were there before, and he says, what kind of tree are you? They said, we're orange trees. He said, oh, am I an orange tree? He said, no, you are not an orange tree. And he went, okay. So he just sat there and carried on growing. Well, the farmer came through the grove one day, and he saw the little oak tree growing, and he thought, I'm going to dig this up and plant it in my front yard. So he did. Took it home, planted it in his front yard. Little oak tree was quite happy, but he still wasn't sure about what he was. He looks over, and there's this beautiful rose bush. And he goes, ooh, what are you? She says, darling, I'm a rose bush. And he says, oh, really? Am I a rose bush? She says, oh, darling, no, you no rose bush. No, sir. So he goes, but what am I? What is my purpose? What am I going to do? So he just sat there and kept growing. One day the farmer came out, and he threw a rope over one of the tree's branches, and he made a swing. And then he brought his little girl out, probably her size, and pushed her on the swing. That made the oak tree very happy. He had a little girl of his very own to look after. Well, when the little girl got a little bit bigger, maybe more like you guys, he built a tree house for the little girl. Well, she loved that. She'd scamper up there every day after school, and she'd laugh and play and sing. It just brought joy to the oak tree's heart, her being up there in that tree house, and he loved it. But after a while, she stopped coming to the tree house. He was sad. She'd just come and sit by the tree and sigh. She was probably looking at her phone, and he could tell she was worried about something. She was worried about what she was going to grow up to be. What was she meant to be? Well, after a little while, here comes the girl again to the swing. Oh, he's very happy. But now there's a boy. There's a boy pushing her. He's not too crazy about that, but he is happy for the company. It's okay. Someday you'll be that boy. So after that, the girl still just didn't come to really visit much. She just sat around, and he didn't know what to make of that. Well, one day, many years later, the little girl comes to the tree. Well, now she's all grown up. She's a young woman. And she sits with her back to the tree and she's like, I just wonder what I'm going to do. And the tree's like, She could tell that she was very anxious about something. She was getting ready to leave home and she was really nervous about that. And she didn't know how that would work out, leaving her mom and her dad and her home. She was just kind of scared. The little oak tree wished that that he could help her, but he didn't know what to do. He's just a tree, but he's an acorn. He's an oak tree with little acorns. He says, I'll give her one of my acorns. So he picked out just the right one in just the right spot, and he went, and wouldn't you know it, that little acorn popped right into her lap. She looked down and put it in her hand. She's like, look up. Well, she looked at it again, stood up, put it in her pocket, and she started to walk away. And she turned around, looked at that tree, and just then I do believe the Holy Spirit entered her heart. And she knew finally what she was supposed to do. She put her hand on the tree and she said, I'm supposed to be the tree that God meant for me to be. And she just kind of said thank you to the tree and goodbye, all by just touching it. It made the oak tree kind of sad, but happy at the same time, because that's what she was supposed to do. And he knew part of his purpose was to watch her grow up. And part of our purposes is to watch you guys grow up. And you're all growing way too fast. One day you'll grow up and you'll leave home.
Donna,
Yes?
I'm 4.
You're 4? Are you ready to leave home yet?
6
6
3/4.
3/4. Okay. I think y'all are going to be at home. You're safe for a while.
Oh, come on.
So, we're watching you guys, and we hope that no matter how far away you guys go physically, that you'll always stay close to us spiritually, because it's all of our jobs, and there's a lot of beautiful, big, majestic oak trees out in this audience. It's our job to teach you and instill values in you that you'll take with you wherever you go. And you know what? God made us in his image, and yet he made us all very unique. And that's kind of cool that God can make us the same and different all at the same time. Only God could do that. So how do we figure out what our purpose is? Well, the best thing to do is to be patient. And then you figure out what your purpose is, then you trust it with God, and God leads you the way he wants you to go. You just have to be patient and trust. And you know those gifts we've been talking about in children's church? You all have a special gift, and you're all figuring that out now. And someday you'll use those gifts that God gave you to maybe in your jobs, maybe to help other people. Maybe you'll see and encourage gifts in others. Or maybe one day you'll have your very own little acorn to plant and watch grow. And that'll be pretty special. But for now, you guys are just little acorns, little seedlings, young saplings. And you just have to be patient while you grow. You'll get there. Don't be in a hurry. So, to remember this lesson by, I made y'all something, and I'm going to give them to y'all. They're little acorns in a jar. You can take it. Be careful with the tops. Riley. This one is for Isabel. Parents of the littles, I did glue the tops on, but check them just to be sure. And your turn, pretty girl.
Definitely not glued on.
It's definitely not glued on. Don't use Elmer's glue to glue the tops on things. Are you big enough to have a big one? You're getting too big, too.
My mom has ideas.
She does, and I made one just for y'all, so y'all could remember the lesson as well. And I've got one for Joshua and Emjar, too.